If you're going to be a successful entrepreneur, you're going to have to make difficult decisions every day. I'm going to tell you why on this episode of the Unlock Success Podcast.
This is the Unlock Success Podcast. We're helping entrepreneurs around the world dive deep into the keys you need to shatter excuses, believe in yourself, and help you achieve your highest goals. Here's your host, 8-figure entrepreneur and the living legend of internet marketing, Anthony Morrison.
Hey, what's up? Anthony Morrison here, and welcome to another episode of the Unlock Success Podcast, where I try to teach you something each week to help you unlock some more success, not just in business, but in life in general. I put this podcast together to help you kind of shift the way you think, change the way you react, or maybe the way you act in certain situations so that we can hopefully unlock more potential. Right? We all have more potential and more success in us than we are always giving out to the world. I want to help you reach down in there, find that, and be able to share it with everyone around you. This week on the podcast, we are going to be talking about why you need to make hard decisions every day to be successful in business. I think this is an interesting topic. Most of my friends that that don't really see what I actually do. They think that being an entrepreneur is just simple. They think it's just simple. I got lucky, I think. They certainly think that daily life is easy, right? So like your daily life as an entrepreneur is easy, but it's not. It's the tough decisions that you have to make and that you do make that ultimately really drive your success as an entrepreneur. One of the biggest, I would say anyway, one of the biggest decisions and hardest decisions I've had to make is giving up on a product, or like in our business, for instance, we do sales funnels. And so I'll have this great idea in my mind anyway for a new sales funnel, and I'll roll it out, and I'm thrilled about it. I'm excited about it. And I'll launch it, and it'll just bomb. It'll just suck. And it's the hardest decision to admit, I didn't get it right. Or God, I got it wrong, right? And so if I'm not able to make that tough decision, to admit that I am wrong, admit that I did not do something perfectly, admit that I made a mistake, admit that my intuition, my gut was not accurate, right? Which is very hard to do as an entrepreneur, because as entrepreneurs, we have an ego. You can't be an entrepreneur without an ego. You can't run around as an entrepreneur and think that everyone's better than you. It's not possible. Entrepreneurs, we're a different breed. We think differently. We act differently. We walk differently, right? You can see. Look, when somebody is driven, when they're successful, all of my friends, I'll go to this 100 million mastermind event. It's been a couple of years since I've been because of COVID, but when these people, like I sat back and watched them, when they walk into a room, they walk differently. Like they enter the room and they look, their vibe is just different than everybody else. They have an ego, right? And it's not a bad ego. It's not that I'm better than you and you all suck or anything. That's not nothing like that. It's the ego of I'm good, I'm great, I can accomplish, I can do, right? It's all about me, right? As an entrepreneur, my mind is set on I can achieve greatness, right? And whatever it takes to get there, I'm willing to do. And so when you release something, when you do something that does not meet that standard, it's one of the toughest decisions in the world to pull the plug on it. It's very difficult to say, I got it wrong, or I can't figure it out, right? And to pull the plug. With us, a lot of times that's with Facebook ads, right? Or with advertising. So we roll this funnel out and we'll spend $5,000 a day, $2,000 a day, $1,500 a day, whatever, promoting this funnel. And our media buyers will come back to us and be like, listen, guys, it's just not working. And we'll say, no, but it will. It will work. And we'll tinker with it a little bit. And there's certainly part of that where you try to optimize and you get yourself to working. But at some point, you realize, hey, probably ain't going to work. Toughest decision in the world. is to admit that you're wrong and pull the plug on something that your gut or your intuition told you was going to work. How about hiring people? So hard, right? So hard. You hire the wrong people, and it is a very difficult decision to replace them. But ultimately, a decision that has to be made, right? I had someone that worked here in my studio for years, and I wasn't able to make the hard decision to get rid of them, right? To let them go. They didn't do a great job. They didn't care about their work. They weren't trying to do better each day. They weren't attempting to learn more. They weren't attempting to do more. They weren't trying to make my brand grow. They weren't attempting to make this look better, right? This podcast sound better. They weren't trying. But I wasn't capable of making that hard decision, right? Until one day I made the hard decision way late, way too late in the process. But I made the hard decision. I let them go. Now, my podcasts sound better. My videos look better. My studio filming experience goes much faster, which means I get a lot more done. My business makes more money because of that hard decision. So you have to ask yourself, as an entrepreneur and as a business owner, how many hard decisions are you not making right now, right? How many employees are not pulling their weight? People on your team are not putting in the effort, not trying. They don't have your best interest or your company's best interest in mind, that you're neglecting, or you're, looking the other way because you don't want to have that tough conversation. You don't want to make that difficult decision. Entrepreneurs are not paid the big money because of the decisions that they make in easy moments. We're paid big money because of the decisions we make in tough moments. How about working? My wife's pregnant right now. She's, as I film this episode, she's about probably 2 weeks from bringing our first child into the world. And she asked me, she said, Anthony, are you going to take, how long are you going to take for maternity leave? I can't even say it with a straight face. I just kind of started laughing. I said, honey, what are you talking about, maternity leave? And she's like, well, you only have your firstborn child one time. She's like, surely you're going to take some time off work. And I said, listen, I'm absolutely going to prioritize my family, 100%. But I can't make the decision just walk away from work for 2 weeks, Like, that's not how it works for me. I don't have the structure in my business. My business is my brand. It's me. This episode of the podcast doesn't get filmed unless I'm sitting here, right? And so it was kind of this stark reality that you got to make the tough decisions, right? That's a difficult decision for me to make, to say, hey, I'm not going to just take off 2 weeks from work, just because I'm having a baby. But it's a decision I made. Like, hey, I'm going to definitely prioritize. But the tough thing is I'm going to have to leave and go to work still and get a few things done. Because as entrepreneurs, we have responsibility. And I always tell people this, when you're an employee and you work for another business, if you don't get your work done, one of two things is going to happen. Either A, they're going to fire you, hire somebody else, and they'll get the work done. That simple. Or B, one of your coworkers is going to step in and get that work done for you because you're not pulling your weight. So they're going to pull you along, right? Because they don't want to get in trouble. And so ultimately you skate by. But as an entrepreneur, that doesn't happen. There's no one there to pull my weight for me or for you. There's nobody there to fire you, right? You have to pull your weight. You have to make the tough decisions. You have to put in maximum effort, right? Because your results are directly tied to you, your performance, and the decisions you make every single day. So, as an entrepreneur, difficult decisions are going to arise. And it's the way that you handle those moments and the choices you make in those situations that will determine how successful you really are. My advice is acknowledge the difficult moments, right? prioritize those moments, and then think about it not just from the perspective of what do you want to do, but what's truly best for your business. Not does it hurt my ego, but does it hurt my business? When you stop thinking about you and start thinking about your business as its own entity and making decisions strictly for the benefit of that business, you're going to start making those tough decisions every single day. They're going to help you grow and help you make way more money and have way more success in your business and as an entrepreneur. I hope this message helped you. If it did, and you happen to be listening on your favorite podcast app, please leave me a rating. I always look at these ratings just to see what people think about the message I'm sharing each week here on the podcast. And of course, if you happen to be tuning in on YouTube, smash the like button, leave me some comments below. I'm always interested in your feedback. And if you enjoyed it, I hope you'll join me next week for another episode of the Unlock Success Podcast.